Hello Aries, and welcome to your reading for April 2024. Aries, this is actually a really big month for you. There's a lot of change, there's a lot of new beginnings, but you know what? I really love them. You're in for a good one, that is for sure. The Death card is in here with the World card touching, which means that you've got lots of chapters closing, but lots of new beginnings and chapters opening as well. So it's going to be quite a big month letting some things go, but also very exciting about the new things that are coming. Because leading up to where we come into that Death card, we have got you overdoing things, very frustrated, and you're kind of overwhelmed with everything that's going on in your life. Now, it could be work, it could be something to do with animals. I'm not quite sure why I'm saying that, but I feel like there's something about animals too. And also if anyone's building your family, whether that's, your child of your own, a pregnancy or grandchildren or something like that. But there's a lot of unknowns when it comes to those things in the first part of April for you. That doesn't last very long. When I get towards the end of the first week or two of April, Aries, you hit your straps, you've made a decision, you're pulling yourself out of a bit of a funk that you were in, and I think you were kind of in one last month too, if I remember correctly. And then you've got the world at your feet. I really like this for you. The Queen of Pentacles, the Ace of Rods, and the World card all touching each other here in that middle part of April is a very strong time for you to run towards your dreams, the rebirth, a new you, and you will have the world at your feet. Now, it may have something to do with work or documents or learning something new, because I've got my King of Cups right here as well. So whether it's a work situation, whether you're changing that or going for a promotion or starting your own business, my kings usually do have their own business. So maybe that's also something that you've thought of. Do you want to do something on your own now? Have you learned as much as you can, or you've got to the age where you don't want to work for anybody else anymore and you just want to work for yourself and see what happens? The middle of April looks like a great time for you to invest in yourself and your future and see what comes of that, because I bloody love it. It's amazing. Now, as I come into the last part of April, this is where things get really interesting, because I'm looking at all these changes you're going through and how successful and how great these changes are. And it sort of leads to maybe a few rippling undercurrents in some relationships around you. And I can see very clearly that there's stress on a relationship here when I come into the end of April. So if you're in a relationship and you're going on this sort of journey with yourself and you're making all these changes, maybe it's a bit concerning for the people around you watching you go through all these changes. So perhaps you could include them a bit more in that, because I can see there is a potential of a relationship breakdown coming at the end of April. Now, it could be a love interest, a marriage, a partnership, I don't know. It could also be just a friendship group or a work situation. But there is definitely this break coming towards the end of April. And that sends you into a bit of a place where you're stressed out and you're not sleeping very well. It's really interesting because sometimes when we make these big changes in our lives, we do have to leave some people behind us. And it's not a terrible thing. It just means you've taken a different direction, and these people maybe weren't meant to be on the next leg of this journey with you, and they're going by the wayside. Now, I don't mean that you're just going to, get rid of everybody and I'm changing my life so you've got to go. But it does look like there's a bit of a disconnect going on here. So if you can prepare yourself for that and maybe just sort of transition around your relationships a bit smoother than I see here, because it does bring you a little bit of anxiety. Now, for those of you who are in a toxic relationship or marriage, I'm just going to take another little take on this. If there's anyone who's looking about leaving a marriage or leaving a relationship that is no good for you, I think it's the right decision, and that will be happening in the end of April as well. Is it coming with a lot of warnings? Absolutely yes. And the warnings are around stress and money and juggling your money because you're unable to see how you can move forward. Like, can you get a house? What's the financial settlement going to be? You're in for a bit of a slog there, but I don't want you to regret the decision that you've made, because you've made it and you've opened up this new pathway in front of you, and I really want you to go there. Yes, it's sad again that we're leaving relationships behind, but I want you to be very mindful about the division of assets if that is actually what you're going through, because this is telling me that there is a chance that you might be getting ripped off. So there's my Seven of Swords. So, you know, someone robbing you, juggling your finances, and you kind of don't know how to get through this situation, and you're kind of losing a lot of sleep about that too, and it's very stressful. So that's just another thing. If you are going through something like that, make sure you get really good financial advice around your finances and how that all works, so that you can move forward and be more sure about the decisions that you're making and how that's all going to come about. So Aries, it's actually a pretty big month for you. Big cards in here. Death, World, Ace of Rods, you know, they're strength, really big cards. So you actually have the world at your feet. Might not feel like it at times during April, but you actually do. So keep pushing forward with what you want to do with your life. If you need to close some chapters, close them. If you need to say goodbye to some people, say goodbye to them, because you've got places to go and people to see, and I don't want anyone to stop you. So thank you so much for listening, Aries, and I'll see you next month. Bye-bye.